Okay, class. Well, this is 11.6. It is dealing with surface area and volumes of spheres. Well, what is a sphere? That's always the first good question to ask. Well, a sphere is a set of all points. I'm just reading right there. A set of all points in space equidistant from a given point called the center. Now, we're used to using circles, but that's two-dimensional. Now here we have a sphere which is three-dimensional. So not only does the radius go up and down, left and right, but also front to back and in every direction from that center. And that's what makes a sphere. Again, we've been dealing with surface area and volumes. And so the surface area of a sphere, and notice here goes our formula we're going to use for surface area. It's 4 times pi times the radius squared. 4 pi r squared. So again, surface area, that's what we will be using. The good thing is only one variable, radius. That's all you really need to know is radius to find the surface area. So let's give the next problem a shot. Find the surface area of the sphere. Leave your answers in terms of pi. Well, notice what we have there. We have the diameter. The diameter is 8 meters, but in the formula we're using radius. So if our diameter is 8, our radius is going to be 4. And again, the surface area formula is 4 pi r squared. So all we have to do now is substitute the 4 in for r. So the surface area is 4 pi, and then we're going to put the 4 there, squared. So that gives us 4 pi times 16. So our final answer is 4 times 16 is 64 pi. And again, it says leave in terms of pi. We always want to use our units if we are given them. So that would be meters cubed. Nope, take that back. Take that back. We're dealing with area. It's meters squared. 64 pi meters squared. Okay, this next one says Mercury's equator is about 3,029 miles long. So, very long equator. Approximate the surface area of Mercury by finding the surface area of a sphere with circumference of 3,029 miles. And again, what we have to know is circumference is 2 pi r. That's it's kind of like the perimeter. The distance around Mercury is 2 pi r. Now we're trying to find its surface area, but it doesn't give us our radius. But it does give us our circumference, so we're actually allowed to plug that in for circumference. I'm going to switch up colors for fun. So that gives us 3,029 is our circumference, and that's equal to 2 pi r. And again, we cannot find surface area until we know what our radius is. So we divide by 2 pi to get r by itself. That means we also divide by 2 pi here. Now I do want you to be careful. When you plug this into your calculator, the common mistake is to type what you see, 3,029 divided by 2 pi. But when you plug in to your calculator, please remember, since there are two things being multiplied in the denominator, you have to put that in parentheses. So 3,029 divided by 2 pi gives us, and again, let's go to the nearest whole number since it's such large numbers, 482. Okay, 482 miles, is the radius of Mercury. But now that helps us find the surface area. Again, that is what r is equal to. Okay, so our surface area is going to be 4 pi r squared. That's our formula. So what we do is we take r and we plug it in there. So that gives us SA is equal to 4 pi, our radius, which is 482, squared. So when you square 482 times 4 times pi, we get this really, really, really large number, but it's a very, very large planet. So it is 2,9,1,9,4,6,9 miles squared. 2,919,400 169 square miles. That is the surface area of Mercury. So again, that's how we use surface area. All you need to know is the radius. Therefore, once you know the radius, you plug into your formula, and we're good to go. All right. Now let's do one more surface area problem, and then we'll get to volume. Here it says, find the surface area of a melon with circumference of 24. Again, circumference is 2 pi r, and in this case it tells us that the circumference is 24. That's going to enable us to find our radius. So we divide by 2 pi, divide by 2 pi. Don't forget to put that 2 pi in parentheses on your calculator. So 24 divided by parentheses 2 pi is, let's go, it says nearest 10 square inches. We want to get this accurate. I believe it's supposed to be tenth. Sorry, round your answer to the nearest tenth. Make that note. That is horrible handwriting. To the nearest tenth. So that would be 3.8. Okay? Alright, now we can plug that into our surface area. Surface area is 4 pi times our radius squared. So now when we plug that in, we're able to find our surface area. 3.8 squared times pi times 4 gives us 181.5, and we're dealing with inches, square inches. Okay? Surface area of that melon is 181.5 square inches. So again, find the radius in order to help you find the surface area. Now let's do volume. Now for volume, we are going to use, obviously, a different formula. The volume of a sphere, like it says, is 4/3 the product of pi in the cube of the radius of the sphere. So 4/3 pi r cubed. That's what we're going to have to do on this problem to find volume. But again, the good part about it is all you need to know is the radius. That's all you need is the radius to solve for the volume. So let's give it a shot. Find the volume of the nearest cubic to the nearest cubic inch of a sphere with a diameter of 40. But again, the key word right there is diameter. So therefore, if the diameter is 40, which is twice the radius would be 20. Okay, 20 inches for your radius. So here, if we want to find the volume, it's equal to 4/3 pi times our radius to the third power. Now, on your calculator, you can just use what I usually do is below the clear button, I just use that button, so 20 to the third. So if you want to calculate this whole thing, I'm going to do 20 to the third, then I'm going to times that by 4 pi divided by 3. So again, this is what my calculator looks like. 20 to the third times, star, 4 pi divided by 3. And my answer to the nearest cubic inch, so the nearest whole number, my volume is 33,510. And since we're doing volume, that would be inches cubed. Again, please be careful on how you type this into your calculator. So to the third, you're going to use that little mark right there. Sorry about that. Okay, so again, make sure you type this into your calculator correctly. Alright, now, let's continue on. The volume of a sphere is 5,000 cubic meters. What's the surface area? So here it tells us nothing about the radius, but it does give us the volume. And again, volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. Well, it tells us that it is 5,000. So we have 5,000 is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. Now it just comes down to getting r by itself. So the way you get rid of a fraction, so technically we can rewrite this, now that I think about it. We can write this as 4 pi over 3. That is the same thing as 4/3 pi, because pi is in the numerator with the 4. So what you would want to do to get r by itself is multiply by the reciprocal. So you're going to multiply both sides by 3 over 4 pi. And you're going to multiply, I really should have moved this over. Oh, no, I was going to move the writing over. Sorry. So we're going to multiply this also by 3 over 4 pi to the 5,000. Again, this will cross that out, leaving r cubed by itself. So r cubed is equal to, and on my calculator, I'm going to do 5,000 times 3 divided by, and again, I have a 4 and a pi in the denominator, so I'm going to put that in parentheses. So 5,000 times 3 divided by, parentheses, 4 pi, and that gets me about 1,193.7. But again, this is not what r is. This is what r cubed is. So from this point, we're going to take the third root, not the square root, but the third root, in order to cancel out the r. Sorry, in order to cancel out the cube. Now, there are a couple ways of doing this with the calculator. One, if you have the TI-84, if you hit the button Math and go down to number 4, you'll see that there is this right here, the cube root. So if you hit Enter on that and then type in your number, 1193.7, you should get, so if you type this into your calculator, you should get about 10.6. Okay? The other way you can do that is, again, to the 1/3. So to get rid of a third power of 3, you have to raise it to the third. So therefore, another thing you could do on your calculator is do 1193.7 raised to the 1/3. And that will get you 10.6 also. Okay, so a couple ways. It's easier just to, on the calculator, again, hit Math, and then go down to the third root symbol. Okay, so we know r is equal to 10.6. So our last thing we need to do to find the surface area, because never forget what you're trying to solve for, is plug that in. Surface area is equal to 4 pi times our radius squared. Sorry, I have to write this over here. It's all scrunched up. 4 pi times 10.6 squared leaves us with, and again, this is still on the problem above. Let's go to the nearest whole number. 1,400 and bad handwriting. Yep. 1,412. That's a 2. That's a horrible 2. There goes a better 2. And that's going to be meters squared since it's surface area. So, sorry, I should have provided more room for myself, but oh well. So again, let me just brief walk through again. We set up our volume. We know it's 5,000, but we have to get r by itself. So what we did is we multiplied by the reciprocal. And then we got r by itself, r cubed. Then we cube rooted that value to find what r is. And then plugged it into the surface area formula. Okay, now let's do another one. Nice little typo here. It's supposed to say the volume of a sphere is 4,200 cubic feet. Volume again is 4/3 pi r cubed. In this case, it tells us that the volume is 4,200, and that's equal to our formula. And again, what we did last time, since that pi is in the numerator, we multiplied by the reciprocal, 3 over 4 pi. 3 over 4 pi. So those cancel out. So therefore, r cubed is equal to 3 times 4,200 divided by, in parentheses, 4 pi, And you should have got, notice it does say to the nearest tenth, so let's keep it accurate, 1002.7. And again, that's not what r is equal to, that's what r cubed is equal to. Okay, that's what r cubed is equal to. So the way we get rid of that cube is we hit the math button, and then we cube root it to cancel it out. So that's what it should look like on your calculator. Right here, after you hit math, the fourth one down says cube root. Then you're going to type in 1002.7. You should have got r is equal to 10.008, so just nearest tenth would be 10. So there you go. But that's a radius. But we still have to, again, find the surface area. Find the surface area. So the surface area is 4 pi radius squared. So that gives us 100. So 10 squared, which is 100, times 4 times pi to the nearest tenth. We have 1256.6, 1256.6, and we're dealing with feet, and that would be squared since it's area. Again, the good part about spheres, what makes it a lot easier, is you're dealing with just radius. Okay, sometimes you have to plug into the volume formula to find your radius, to therefore find the surface area, but really you're dealing with one main variable, and that's the radius. So I hope that helps. I hope I didn't confuse you too much, and you should be able to do the rest of this work no problem. Good luck.